If you are a cycle breaker, this video is for you. Please stay tuned until the end. Hi beautiful people, it's your girl Mon-E of DFD, Divorce from Damage, and we are here healing out loud together. I am here literally to shame the enemy. I'm going to be going deeper over the next few weeks and exposing more. I realized that it's been 3 years since I shared my divorce story. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's my testimony of being basically divorced in my 20s, and I'm just bringing a very different angle to what you typically see out there, which is a lot of blaming the other person. That's literally not how you're going to heal if you're unable to do the self-examination and take accountability. It's hard to maybe imagine the transformation, because I feel like I've always seemed to people like I have it all together, and that's just being a good mask wearer. And so now the mask is off and I am ready, and I thank God that I have a very supportive husband, but I'm ready to just really expose how dark things really got for me, and I'm going to be doing that over the next few weeks. But before I do that, I just feel like it's really important for us to start here and lay a foundation. And so, dear cycle breaker, I want to tell you that this life is spiritual. It is spiritual. It is, I can't stress it enough. I think that we live in a time where, especially growing up in the West, we live in a time where we have so much information available to us, and we have become so reliant on our logic, on our intelligence, on academia, on research. We've become so reliant on every other source that is not rooted in the Word of God. And so if you are to do this work, and I mean really, really do this work, and you've decided within yourself that you've had enough, okay, that it stops here, it ends with you. You've seen the cycles, you've identified the patterns in your family, you've seen the cycles of incest, molestation, you've seen the cycles of immorality, sexual immorality, you've seen the cycles of divorce, rage, mental illness, you've seen the cycles of poverty, and you've decided this ends here, it ends with me. I'm here to tell you that you cannot do this work without God. Generational curses can only be broken through Him who became the curse for our sake, through Him who became guilty so that we who were truly guilty could be guiltless. He is our advocate. He is our intercessor. And I just see that many of us are really not equipped for this battle. We're really not equipped, because you have to understand there is an enemy who comes to steal, kill, and destroy. We cannot afford to be lackluster and have lethargy and apathy when it comes to spiritual matters. And I realized that it's easy for us to throw up memes on social media that last for 24 hours. But when you're really doing this work, and I mean doing this work, it is hard work. It is spiritual warfare. It is not easy. And I'm seeing more and more that many of us are seeing a person as our obstacle. We're seeing the person that hurt us, whether it's a relationship failure, like a romantic relationship, or it's our parents. Like, we see the person. And the Bible tells us that our wrestle is not against flesh and blood. And many of us know this verse. We quote it up and down. But still somehow we miss the demonic activity. We miss the evil altars and the evil covenants that are powering witchcraft, that are powering wickedness, that are powering all these wicked rulers in high places. We miss the demonic activity. And it's so bizarre to me, because I was reflecting on this. And when you look throughout the Gospels, you look throughout Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, you see that as they walked with God in their accounts, as disciples, you see Christ casting out demons left, right and center. You see him casting out demons, casting out legions, and somehow we've gotten to a point where we think it's not real. We think it's not serious. And I was reflecting on this just in context to like my first marriage, and even also in my second marriage. And I just think in marriage as a whole, I'm sure you've had incidents where, like, if you're in a relationship, or no, I wouldn't say relationship, because I think it's once we enter the marital covenant, that's when the war really begins. But I think if you think to like your marriage, like there's times where, for me anyway, an argument just rise up out of nowhere and just escalate. You're good, everything is fine, everything is going well, you feel like you're on the same page. Boom, something happens, small irritation, and before you know it, it's blown up into something else completely. Everyone is cursed each other out. You know, there's power of life and death in the tongue. You've rained curses on each other. This person's gone that way and left the house. The other person has moved their stuff into the guest room. I'm speaking from experience here, just to keep it 100. And then before you know it, like a day passes into a week, into a month, and you haven't spoken, and there's no unity. And then people wonder how they end up at a point where there's divorce. And many times in those instances, what we see is a person. We quote it all day long about not wrestling against flesh and blood. We quote it all day long, but when it comes to the application of the word of God, there's just a disconnect. There's a disconnect. And we don't see that we're showing up for spiritual warfare without fully being equipped. We literally do not have the full armor of God on as a body, as believers. We don't have it on. We don't have it on, and we're not using our sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Because when it comes to the word, we're not in our word. We're lethargic. Every time you go to pick up your word, there's a distraction. Or you're tired. Have you been there? Or you're horny. Let me just keep it real. All of a sudden, what is that? What is that? And we fail to see the spiritual. We fail to see the spiritual. That word, which is to be our sword, which is the way we should fight, when we should be on our knees together, praying, binding, casting, coming into agreement with the word of God. What God has joined together, let no man put asunder. When we are to remind the enemy whose we are and what his promises towards us is, when we're to remind the enemy and use those weapons to fight, we're busy, we're distracted. We don't know how to apply the word of God. And so I just wanted to encourage anyone who's doing this work. And as I unpack things as we go on, I want you to keep in mind that this life is spiritual. And if you're to truly fight and truly push back, you need to arise from spiritual depression. That's my prayer for everyone who listens to this video, that you would arise from spiritual depression. That God will begin to reveal to you secret things in your dreams through his word, that he will continue to speak to you concerning the source of your problems, the source of your issues. We are triune in nature. Yes, I am a full advocate for therapy. Everybody knows it. I'm an advocate. But we cannot just be addressing body and soul. We can't just be addressing our soul wounds and emotional well-being without addressing the spirit, without recognizing that this flesh, this bodysuit that we wear is totally against anything spiritual. If you are reliant on your works alone, if you are reliant on yourself alone, you can't win like this. You can't win like this. You can't win like this. I can't stress it enough. Yes, I'm a huge advocate for therapy, but if you're going to find a therapist, ensure that you have a Bible believing, blood bought child of God who's leading you, because the science alone won't do it. The science alone won't do it. I'm saying it here. And perhaps the medication you need to cure that spirit of depression, that spirit of anxiety, that spirit of lust, perhaps what you need is the word of God. It's the word of God. And that demon will flee, and there will be transformation by the renewal of the mind through the word of God. And eventually you begin to conform to that word of God and adhere to it and live by it. But we can't do this work apart from him. We can't. And so I just wanted to lay that foundation and give you food for thought, that perhaps, just maybe, that thing that you're dealing with currently is spiritual. What is the source? And you're going to see over the next few weeks what that looked like in my own life. We have a video series coming out with my auntie of her rejected truth. We're going to be unpacking the generational curses. And I've got things that I speak about for the first time in that series, so stay tuned. On top of that, I'm going to be unpacking, one of the things I unpack is the Freemason curse, because that really, I see now was the spirit of anti-marriage and divorce. That really was the source. And I speak about the fact that I'm now the only married person on my dad's side of the family. The only married, 3 generations, I'm the only one. Really? Really? And you want to make it seem like this is just a communication issue or relational issue or financial issue? No, you can't tell me that. You can't tell me that. And so yeah, I've said a lot, and this wasn't, I intended for this to be encouraging, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna be keeping it real on this channel as much as I can. I'm here for us to have like open dialogue about these things. So let me know thoughts in the comments, questions. What would you like me to cover in future? Yeah, just let me know. I'm gonna keep my email address on there. I do work with people one-on-one. You can reach me on connect@monicaezue.com. The details will be there. I'm mainly on Instagram, so do follow me on Instagram if you're on Instagram. Until next time, people, take care.